Be free.
For sure, it takes commitment. Like any chronic disease, if you want to reverse it, it takes commitment of the patient. You need to be disciplined. So the task as a doctor or functional doctor is to coach them.
I'm sitting here with an old friend. His name is Rian Van Schalkwyk. We used to be athletes together way back in the day when we were both young, strong men. Now we're older strong men. Rian is a medical doctor and we are here in RUNDU in the north of Namibia. Rian, first tell me, where are we now exactly?
Well, first I want to say welcome, Chris. Welcome in the Kavango, in RUNDU specifically. You're on the banks of the Kavango River. Yeah, it's nice to see you again after so many years.
Yes.
You still look the same.
Thank you. Except for the grey hair.
I don't know if you still that fast, but yeah.
I'll just keep it a secret. I'm going to keep it a secret.
Yeah, yeah. It's an honor to have you here in RUNDU.
Yeah. I was hosted by Rian now for a few days, and it's actually a funny story. I was walking down. I'm busy with my Great African Adventure, obviously, and my vlogging. And the idea is to do interviews with people as I go along. Interesting people. Rian just made the list. I was walking in Swakopmund wondering, should I go ahead with my adventure now or should I turn back to South Africa? And I just heard this voice saying, Chris. And I looked and I said, Herbie. Herbie is Rian's brother, and I haven't seen him also for about 2 decades. And we started chatting and he said, well, listen man, I'm going to my brother. I can give you a lift. And that was like a sign from the cosmos. Okay, I need to continue with this journey, and here we are. Rian, tell me a bit about what you do and how you ended up here, and a little bit of history about yourself.
All right. So I'm a general practitioner here in RUNDU. I came here in 2003, and yeah, I've been working here for the last 20 odd years with a little break in between. But for the first 15 years I was a general practitioner. I left for about 5 years. I went to travel with my daughter for 1 year, also similar to what you're doing through Africa, just to take a break. I was a bit tired of the normal run-of-the-mill GP work, and I needed a break at that time. And actually that led me to what I'm doing today, which is integrated doctor, which is a bit different from your normal general practitioner. I will go into depth about it soon. But yes, I came back here and now I'm practicing medicine in a different way, which is much more rewarding for me. I think I can help my patients better in kind of reverse their chronic diseases. So yeah, a little bit of personal history. So after this trip with my daughter Nina, she was 4 at the time, so we had a great time traveling, camping, but also we ate what we got on the road, like, you know, a lot of fat cookies. I don't know what a fat cookie is, but a little cake the African women like to bake, and what we can find, you know, lots of spaghetti, and it wasn't a proper healthy diet, if you know what I mean. So just after I came back, I had one night I woke up with an incredible pain in my stomach, and Nina came home from school and said, no, Papa, you must go to the hospital. Went to the hospital, and yeah, my bowel ruptured. So I had an emergency operation and took some time to recover from that. And yeah, I realized I thought I was healthy. I was an athlete with yourself, and I thought I was healthy, and I kind of did eat right, and I kind of exercised, but I realized I didn't look after myself well enough. So that's why my bowel ruptured. And soon after that, COVID started, and I was just dumped into treating COVID patients. I was working in a COVID ward, and that's really where my eyes opened up about medicine and what we've been told about medicine, and there's a a better way treating chronic patients. So I decided in going into the field of functional integrated medicine. So recently I got my papers, so I'm a qualified functional medicine doctor. I'm more proud of that than my medical degree. You see, acute medicine doctors do an amazing job. They save your life every day. If you have a heart attack or a fractured bone or a concussion or brain bleed or whatever. But chronic disease, for instance, diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune disease, cancer, we can do better. We can do better because we don't address the cause of the disease, we treat the symptoms. And that is not it's a sustainable model for them because it keeps you kind of healthy but not in optimum health. And that's the difference. Functional medicine addresses the root cause of disease. We treat the cause, not only the symptoms. So in the end of the day, the patients are more equipped to help themselves and they are healthy, truly healthy. So yeah, that's in short how I got into functional medicine. I was just so disillusioned in COVID time. We treated thousands of patients and the outcome was dismal, it was poor.
You saw this firsthand for yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's not many doctors who gets to this realization. It seems like most are just happy to continue. So it's like obviously a small movement. And why do you think that is? Like most doctors just don't see the light in the scene.
Yeah, I think well, I was the same. We get taught in university. We study 6 years. We think we know it all, you know, and we get our protocols how to treat disease processes. But if you in the business a long time, you realize you just manage those people. The fundamentals still stay the same. They still stay sick. But you know, there's a different way. There's a definite better way to treat chronic disease. Acute disease, fantastic. Chronic disease, we can do better. And I don't blame the doctors. They think they do the right thing. Of course, as a doctor, you want the best for your patients, and most doctors are like that. But I think it's just because it's not taught to us. Like for instance, nutrition, what to eat. We in our whole 6 years, I think it's 1 week after nutrition we have. It's not adequate, and that's probably the most important aspect of being a human being is to feel yourself right, to eat right. So I think we can do better. I think if there's less influence by the pharmaceutical companies in what's taught in university and what's taught to doctors, then it will be better.
Let's just get some definitions right, because most people are not medical doctors. Just define again acute versus chronic disease.
Acute disease is something you suddenly appears and you can rectify it in a short course of time. Like if you have a penetrating object into your eyeball, you go to the doctor, he sees you and he can stitch it or he can do something about it. Or you have a fractured bone, or you have a acute appendicitis, which is an infection, you can give antibiotics to, or you can operate and it will get better. You go home and you recover and you get better. But chronic disease is a big aspect of life nowadays, and it's getting more prevalent because we are being exposed to more toxins, more environmental pollution, processed foods, you know, everything we are surrounded by nowadays are trying to affect us. So in that sense, chronic medications, what we are dealing on a chronic basis with, that we have to take medicine for on a daily basis to try and control this chronic problem.
It's a lifestyle issue.
Lifestyle issues, yes.
So let's
For
take a practical example. Like for instance, we were talking about high sugar levels. What do you call it again?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. How would the treatments differ from what you do now and what you used to do?
Yeah, great question. I used to treat diabetes as control the sugar in your blood. That is what diabetes is. It's a high sugar in your blood, and you have to bring it down. Otherwise, it can give you chronic complications, chronic effects later on. And acute, if your sugar is acutely high, it can also affect you, and you can even die. So in the past, I give medication to control the sugar, and I still do in the short period, in the medium term period. I give medication to bring down the sugar. It will control the sugar, and the patient will think he's healed, he's controlled, he doesn't have sugar anymore. Now I'll approach it much different. So nowadays I'll put the patient on a strict eating program. So what they eat is fundamental. Diabetes is caused by sugar, and overeating of sugar. It's the cause of diabetes. Type 2 diabetes I'm referring to. Type 1 is not so much what you eat, because it's a autoimmune or disease that you get that actually burns out your pancreas. You don't make any insulin. But for type 2 diabetes, I put them on a lifestyle program. What they eat plays a fundamental role. So initially I'll put them either on a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, it depends, and I'll prescribe some exercise therapy. So what they eat is so crucial, and there are other modalities we can also use to bring down the sugar and to reverse the process of disease. And that is what we want to do. We want to make the person truly healthy again.
Yeah. Obviously that takes the patient must be willing to obviously change their lifestyle.
For sure, it takes commitment. Like any chronic disease, if you want to reverse it, it takes commitment of the patient. You need to be disciplined. So the task as a doctor or functional doctor is to coach them, to give them the right advice, to follow them up, to try and encourage them to do the right thing. It's not easy, I must say. Just looking at myself after my bowel burst and I had to change my whole lifestyle, I went onto a ketogenic diet in the beginning, and it was tough because the first month you will withdraw from sugar. It's like withdrawing from any drug. It just shows you how potent a drug sugar can be. So initially you feel kind of crap. You feel flu symptoms, you feel tired, you have headache. But if you get over that stage, you start to feel very good. Your focus is increasing, your concentration is getting better, your mood, your energy levels. So taking sugar out of the equation is absolutely a, what do you call it, epiphany.
Vital.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not easy because we tend to fall back on our default setting, what we are used to, what we used to eat, and that makes it difficult, but it's not impossible. I find a lot of my patients can do it, and if their eyes open, it's actually such a rewarding feeling for them.
I think we're living in the Western lifestyle is very convenient, so we want quick fixes for everything. You want to take a pill and move on.
Yep.
Move on with your job. So it takes a mindset, but I think a lot of people have to have a big scare before they get into this thing for, listen man, I need to look after myself. It's not all the doctor's responsibility. I have to take responsibility for my life, and I think that's a bit of a conscious shift that needs to happen.
Very, very good point. Very good point. Yes. So if you can let the patient take over his or her own health, that is what you want. You want them to be educated about the disease. They need to learn the disease as good as they can, even better as the doctor. They must be their own doctors, and that's what you want. You want them to feel empowered to heal themselves.
So the other issue I always thought is like, especially where we are here in Africa, you know, it takes money to eat healthy, as people will say. So they say, okay, well, this is a middle class mission you are on. For the majority of people in Africa, this is just not practical. Would you agree, or do you think?
Actually, I thought so in the beginning. You know, some of the supplements or some of the foods are a bit more expensive than you used to. I live in a very rural area. RUNDU is not a rich community, but saying that, my patient that comes from the village outside town, they're very healthy. They eat the mahangu, which is a traditional kind of millet pap, you know, and they have mutete, which is like traditional spinach kind of thing, and they eat from the raw products. They eat, you know, raw milk, and they eat the meat from the cows, and they are healthy. I see 95-year-old gentlemen and ladies walking into my practice perfectly healthy. They might complain a little bit about a stiff knee here and there, but it's normally injury related. They have no chronic disease, they are on no medication, they're 95, they're still working in the field. So
95, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now modern stuff is just...
it's just living off the field and in the bush, and they're happy people. But as soon as they come into town, then is when they get sick, and very quickly. Sure. You can't believe it. Unfortunately, this town is like any other African town, I think, also riddled with takeaway joints. I kind of want to make it my mission to try and close them because it's just so unhealthy for the people in town.
Selling poison.
Selling poison, basically, that's what they do, and it's cheap, it's convenient. So some of my patients, all they eat Hungry Lion and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then it's where the chronic disease starts, and the cancers and the high blood pressure and so on. So it's a tough ask for them to go back to their roots, and that's what I tell them. Listen, just think back. What did your mother make you to eat? What did you eat in the village? And try and go back to that kind of way of living. I know it's more stressful in town. It's less convenient to make your own food, but it needs to your mind needs to be shifted back to times when it was healthier. So
that brings us to modern day stress. I think that obviously also plays a big role.
For sure. You know, I live in a rural town, and you would think people are not that stressful here, but they are. It's just modern day life. It's faster. It's you know, there's more pace involved. You know, financial strains. Family strains, it's been there all the time, but I think nowadays, because we are peppered with so many environmental toxins and processed foods, and our brains are inflamed. Our brains are inflamed of all these things. So if you have inflamed brain, you have a lesser capacity to deal with stress.
Yeah.
Because you need proper neurotransmitter function, proper brain function to be able to be calm, to be focused, to you know, not to overstress yourself. So it's all connected. Your body needs to be balanced, and it is in the physical sense, it's in the spiritual sense, and in the mental sense. So if there's one imbalances, then you will feel it, and you will feel it in different ways, and most of the time it comes out as a physical complaint or a psychological complaint, but we just need to go back to nature, and we need to go back to ways of dealing with with stress. You know, there are a lot of ways to deal with stress, and mainly lifestyle changes. You know, start exercising, go walk in nature, just breathe and just be in the moment. Just sit back and look at nature. We are just too involved in our daily fast-paced life. We have to slow down a bit.
We're working with a whole system. A human is not a machine. We sometimes behave like monkeys, but we're not machines. So there's the psychology aspect, there's all these aspects that I think modern medicine possibly don't treat the way it should treat. And also I think there's societal programming. I think people are taught that they need this and this and this and this because maybe it sells or whatever, but maybe they can just simplify their lifestyles and that's enough.
Yep. No, I agree. So modern medicine is, unfortunately, there are too many specialities. There's about 42 specialities. So if you have a problem with your eyes, you go to an eye doctor. If you have a problem with your toes, you go to an orthopedic surgeon. If you have a problem with your heart, you go to a cardiologist. But they're all connected. You're not a body of systems and organs. You are a unit. You are a total being. So everything is connected. Your eyes are connected to your brain is connected to your body. So it's all connected, and you can't treat them all individually as an organ. So if you have a problem with your eyes, you have to sort out your other systems as well, you know. So to be universally healthy and to help your eyes in the end, you know. So that's where modern medicine is a bit losing its way, because they want to treat individual organs, and we're not that. We are a unit, and we live in balance. And what you eat and how you treat your mitochondria, how you treat your brain, all is connected, and how you're going to feel. So we can't treat the human body as different organs. We have to treat it as a unit, you know.
I've heard this word from another friend of mine, is also a doctor. She spoke about the mitochondria and how that functions and how that helps. I'm totally an idiot when it comes to these things. Just explain that concept a bit.
Yeah, I love the mitochondria. Mitochondria are energy stations in our cells. You probably remember it from biology in school. Every cell, apart from your red blood cells, have mitochondria. And mitochondria are little energy stations that produce energy for you to function as a human being. And it's a very complicated, delicate process that's going on in your mitochondria. It forms the units of energy called ATP, and ATP is used by us for energy. So it's a very interesting little organelle, because it is the focus and the originator of disease. If your mitochondria are unhealthy, then you will feel it. And it's a basis of most chronic disease. Is if there's something going wrong in your mitochondria, you will have some sort of chronic disease. And our mitochondria needs fuel in the form of glucose, protein and fatty acids to produce ATP. But glucose now, I mean, your body can make its own glucose. We don't need it from external sources. That is when we start overloading our system with sugar, is when we get it from external sources. Our body can make glucose, which is an energy source, from protein even. So that is sometimes what people don't understand, is energy our body creates from its own sources. But because we are so exposed to toxins and environmental pollution, our mitochondria are suffering. They're suffering, and that's why we are seeing this huge spike in cancers, in autoimmune diseases, in metabolic diseases. So it's a fundamental basis of disease, is if something goes wrong there. And it's very interesting, the mitochondria looks like a bacteria. So they believe that the mitochondria in our body is a remnant of evolutionary changes over the millennia that incorporates bacteria into our system. And it looks like a bacteria, it kind of operates like a bacteria. Very interesting how it works. But besides that, the mitochondria is just such a fascinating piece of the puzzle coming to health. For instance, cancer. Cancer is a very big topic, of course. Nowadays, even more cancer incidents are spiking. My own sister is dealing with cancer now, so for me it's a personal thing. So oncology and modern medicine is still making new medication on the belief that cancer is a genetic disease. After years and years of research and doctors studying cancer and the genetics of cancer, they couldn't pinpoint cancer as a genetic disease. Yes, there are a few cancers that have definitely genetic origins, but in total it's a small percentage of cancer. So what functional medicine taught me is to look at how disease processes start and what is fueling them, and that is where the metabolic approach to cancer comes in. So what fuels cancer? And there's where the mitochondria comes in. The mitochondria, in the mitochondria something is going wrong, and how cancer metabolize, so how they get the energy from. So a normal cell needs glucose or protein or fatty acids and oxygen to produce ATP, and it's a very efficient mechanism. They produce 36 ATP in that electronic chain in the mitochondria, in a very efficient way of getting energy. But the cancer cell doesn't need oxygen. It needs a hell of a lot of sugar, and it only produces 2 ATP. So it's a very inefficient way of getting energy. But that's why it needs so much sugar all the time to fuel it. And so that is the basis of the metabolic approach. We cut off the sugars, and it plays a major role in how that cancer cell is going to be fed. So that's a bit of a paradigm shift in dealing with cancer. It's not the only way to deal with cancer. Cancer is a sneaky thing. It uses so many pathways to grow, but cutting off the fuel supply is one of the things to deal with cancer. And modern oncology, they don't consider it as a viable treating option. I'm sure they know it, because it was actually in 1936, Otto Warburg, I think it's 1936, he even received a Nobel Prize for it when he realized that cancer needs sugar in a non-oxygen environment to produce energy. And that is known, it's a known fact. But it's not seen by the oncologists as a viable treatment. In fact, if you sit there and you have your chemotherapy needle in your arm, they give you orange juice and a donut or whatever they give you, but it's not filled with sugar. Yeah. So when I asked my sister's oncologist what can she eat, she said she can eat anything as long as he stays strong for a chemotherapy. So
it's a bit of irony there. You're actually you are hurting the people you're trying to heal. Yeah. Of the diet.
Yeah, I think that's the basis of the big pharma. They want to keep you sick, so you give them money. So that's a good business model, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's a fantastic business model. They want to keep you sick so they can make money.
I've got one lady friend. She's been going for chemo, and it just looks like so destructive. It looks
It
very
is. It is. I mean, if you give something to somebody and you know his hair will fall out, you know his immunity will fall to the ground, you know his gut health will perish, you know they will feel like crap. How can it be good for you? We all know it's not. So yes, chemotherapy helps sometimes because it does kill the fast-growing cells in cancer. That's why your hair falls out, because also fast-growing cells. That's why your immunity is shot to pieces, because it's fast growing. That's why your gut is getting hammered, because it's fast-growing cells, and that's how chemotherapy function. It kills those cells, yes, but it doesn't address the stem cells or the slow-growing cells. So the stem cells are not affected in general by chemotherapy. So even if you can kill the cancer and you think the cancer is killed, it can come back in 5 years' time as a more aggressive cancer, because the stem cell will start growing again. So they also only give the prognosis in 5 years' time as oncologists. If you have a cancer, they will tell you have a 80% chance of surviving this, but it's only in 5 years. And that sometimes they don't tell you that. It's only a 5-year prediction.
So all this resistance, do you think it's just because people were taught like that and they refuse to accept the alternatives, or is it maybe because some people make easy money, or what?
Yeah.
Combination of things.
Yeah, without stepping on too many people's toes, I get a lot of calls from oncologists that ask me how can I do certain things, but I don't. Unfortunately, the bottom line is money. Is greed. Big Pharma doesn't have our health at heart. They have our wallets at heart. One cancer patient can make them up to 150,000 US dollars a year. That's the statistics in America. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And statistically, the more expensive a drug is, the less it works. How is that?
Doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah, so in the end of life, normally at stage 4 cancer, they will tell you, we have this one more option, but it will cost you $300,000 for a month or something like that. And people think the more a thing will cost, the better the chance is it will work. But it's the opposite, unfortunately.
Tell me about a success story in your history.
Yeah, I have a few. Well, numerous. But the thing is about cancer stories is you get those patients in the end. So the sad thing about me treating patients is normally they come to me very late. In cancer, they come to me after everything has been done, after they've been through the system. They had their chemotherapy, they had their radiotherapy, they had their surgery. So then the oncologist will tell them you are now in palliative treatment, so we will keep you comfortable. And that's normally when they come to me. So you have a patient that's already immune compromised in a way because of the chemotherapy. You have a patient that's highly inflamed because of the therapy. You have a patient that has all his gut microbiome is compromised because of the chemotherapy. So you have your work cut out for you. But saying that, even stage 4 cancer, even if they throw them out the system, there's always hope for these patients. You have thousands of testimonials of people that come back from stage 4 cancer. Once they realize that they have to change their whole way of thinking of nutrition, diet, lifestyle, spiritual health, they can, and they do, turn things around. But in my own practice, I have small success stories every day. For me, it's in the individual who can change his lifestyle in a way that he has a better blood pressure or better sugar on a daily basis, and then slowly get off this medication. My aim is to take people off chemical medication, and every day I do that. I reverse diabetes. I've reversed numerous of my patients with diabetes that's not non-diabetic now, that they don't take any more diabetic medication at all. They have a wonderful, healthy lifestyle. They eat healthy, and they feel great. And that is the aim of all my patients. But like we did say, it's difficult. It takes discipline. It takes guts. It takes a new way of thinking of anything.
Last night we talked and you said also everybody is unique. Everybody's biological profile is unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not one set of rules for everybody.
No. You can't take one person and do the same with another person. So you can't approach everybody the same. Everybody's individual. There's genetics involved. Some people live to 100 without eating right, without
while
exercising,
smoking.
just while smoking and drinking their whiskey every day. And some people do the same, and they unfortunately die at 45 with a heart attack. So genetics play a role. It does. But it's like I always tell my patients, it loads the gun, but it doesn't pull the trigger. So even if you have the worst genetics in the world, you can still live a long, healthy life. So nowadays people live longer, but their quality of life is worse. So they sit in their wheelchair, in an old age home, they don't have a quality of life, they're still alive, but are they truly alive?
Yeah.
They don't feel good.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to aim at. You want to give people a health span, not a lifespan.
Yeah.
They must feel great. At 95 they must still run a marathon.
Yeah.
And feel great after that. So that's the aim of functional medicine, is to keep people healthy for longer.
If you can give a few quick tips for the average person that might be listening to this or watching this video, how they can make basic lifestyle changes just for a start.
Yeah, you must remember it's never too late. People can change their lives at any time of their life. People can change their health at 60, 65, 70. Yeah, it's more difficult because you have to work with what you have. There might be chronic reversible diseases, that's irreversible things that you can't reverse, but it's never too late. It's never too late. So the first thing I would say is forget about what you know that normal allopathic doctors told you about medicine and about disease, and take control of your health yourself. Educate yourself, learn about your specific chronic disease, and then change your lifestyle, change your nutrition. That's probably the most important. Cut down on sugars, cut down on processed artificial oils, cut down on processed foods, or stop processed foods completely. Go back to raw products, go back to what nature gives us, what God has given us, and stop eating what human beings are making. And that's a simple rule, but saying that, even if you go back and eat more raw products, it's still a big minefield. There are pesticides, there are herbicides, things you buy in the shop is covered with that. So go back to organic if you can. If you can do your own vegetables, even better, that is organic. But there are a lot of minefields. We think we sometimes do the right thing, and it's difficult to say nowadays, But as far as possible, just get away from artificial pesticide-laden, quick junk food.
And educate yourself because you can.
Yes.
The info is out there now. Let's end off with your project. You are building something here on the banks of the river. Tell us a bit about your project.
Yeah, so because I'm treating people in this integrated way, sometimes I treat people that's far away, you know, and you can, but I want to set up just on small scale, like a functional medicine retreat, where I can truly help people turning their lives around, turning their health around, reversing their disease processes, and get their health back. And that's what I want to do here on the banks of the Kavango River in RUNDU. On small scale, I want to set up a retreat so I can get people in, educate them, and putting them back in a position where they can help themselves. With my functional way of doing it, with all the supplemental support treatment I have, with supplements, with hyperbaric oxygen, with infrared, with ozone. There's numerous other modalities we can use to get people's health back, and I'm excited about it because it's what I want to do with my life, and I want to help people helping themselves and get their life back and their health back.
Tell me, people if they want more info about you, can they contact you somehow? Or?
Yeah, at the moment I have my practice here in RUNDU, but I haven't got a website yet. I haven't got to that yet, but they can contact me in RUNDU. I am on the internet. My name is Rian Van Schalkwyk, and you can Google me, and it's in RUNDU, Namibia, and yeah, people can get hold of me.
If you like this little podcast or interview, whatever you want to call it, you can also support me. I'm doing this, I'm traveling up Africa now, and I'm meeting people. I want to give people info out there. I'm doing this because I have a passion for what I do, and I support people like Rian, but I'm doing this with no budget. So you can buy me a coffee, or I'll put the link down here how you can support me, a guy like me doing basically independent journalism, trying to get to the truth and speaking to people. Rian, I want to say thank you very much for hosting me. We had a great time, and it was great to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you,
We still
Chris.
have to do a race to see who's the fastest, but I think I'm going to lose.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I'll do it. I'll give it my best.
No, it's great to see you again, Chris, and good luck with your travels. And what you're doing is noble and it's proper. And Africa's got so much to give us, you know. We are Africans at heart. We love it here on the banks of the Kavango River. It is amazing to see you again, and good luck, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Okay.
Cheers, guys.
Be free.